2 more series to go, ladies and gentlemen, until we kick things off for the last European Open Division Amateur Cup. It's going to be great. So a full afternoon of Heroes Esports, or evening or morning, depending on where in the world you live. For now, though, Tetra and I are back with another action-packed Best of 2 series. Probably one of my personal highlights today after witnessing those teams priorly in the early stages of the stream. We've got RPG facing off against Team Nut.
That we do, and both of these teams put on impressive performances despite getting 0-2'd in their previous matchups. Whereas our next match today will be 2 teams that went 1-1 in their matchups. But either way, like we said, these 2 teams were in last phase.
True.
It's as simple as that. They got kind of wrecked. And the question is, are either of them going to be able to step it up this time? Because RPG finished above the A team. Finished in it finished above Team Nut in 7th place after the A team managed to make their way out of 8th. And I'm curious to see if they can do it again, because both these teams have had roster changes. Yet, though, Team Nut have had a roster change. So yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned this before, right? RPG lost one of their star players, Loktar, to Beyond the Game. However, they brought themselves in another star player from the past, you know, with DSL, formerly known as Yen Zhao, reinforcing them. Sorry?
Hell of a ringer.
Hell of a ringer, absolutely. Bringing them, in on the ranged assassin role, and actually doing pretty well on the heroes we've seen him thus far. So let's see if they can actually snatch that first victory that they so much desire, or if Team Nut is going to finally get those 3 points in. Certainly a team that we should not underestimate.
I mean, neither of these teams at this point are ones we should underestimate, as they did, like we already mentioned, give pretty significant challenges to the One and BTG respectively.
Yeah.
So the question is, which one of them is better? The joy of this! We have no hypotheticals in round robin. Everything is found out. As Braxis has actually been allowed through the hero pool, map pools, we ban Cursed and Tomb, and we're going to be heading to the Dragon Child.
Yeah, we have actually seen a lot of those series in which Braxis wasn't actually paid attention to. So at some point, maybe in the second half of the phase, we're going to find out if teams, try to maybe have some games on that beautiful battleground.
For those who don't know what we're referring to the way the format works here is it's best of 2s, but technically best of 4s, but it's 2 separate best of 2s. Yeah. Basically, you can tie. If you tie, you get 1 point. If you win 2-0, you get 3 points. If you lose, you get nothing. But you ban out 2 maps in the first rotation, the first part of the phase, where, in this case, we have Curse and Tomb of the Spider Queen banned out. They then pick 2 maps. All 4 of those maps are then unavailable for when the teams play each other again in Phase 2. There are no more bans. They just jump straight in with 4 maps unavailable and pick from the remaining ones for their next best of 2.
Yeah, so in round 2, you don't get additional bans because that would go crazy insane. But instead, as Tetra said, you choose 2 of the remaining ones. And Genji made it through. RPG doesn't even hesitate a second to pick it up.
I mean, it would be scary if they gave it over. Even if Loktar's not playing it, BTG would still be very strong. So who is going to be playing this for RPG, though? Is this a Jin Zhao hero? I don't know why I'm calling him Jin Zhao. It's DSL now. That's going to be a while to remember.
I'm not sure if Jin Zhao, or now known as DSL, is going to play that Genji. I don't think he's that flexible yet. So let's see who's going to pick it up for them. It might be Bad, actually. Who?
I'm gonna check his hero.
Wait, was Bat even an RPG? Somebody new names.
Hang on, got it up. Bad used to be.
Bad was KT, right?
Yes, Bad is KT, and he used to be Andre.
There we go, Andre. For those of you who don't remember Andre, he was part of the mid-season brawl lineup for the One.
That he was, and he was quite good. All right, Jin Zhao. Heroes. Did you play Genji, friend? Maybe. It's a long list of heroes. Nope, never played Genji in his life.
Yeah, okay, so it's very, very unlikely for him to step it up and pick up that hero.
Played Asmodan. He's played a lot of heroes.
Okay, so Alex Ross is now out of the picture. Not really sure why they would ban it on Dragonshire. I don't think Alex Ross is the classic, Dragonshire rotation support hero.
Yeah.
It's a little weird. But I'm glad Maiev is gone because I'm pretty sure RPG watched that last match. They're like, okay, we're not going to give it over to any of our enemies today if we're not planning on picking it ourselves.
Agreed. I have no issue with this. You see the Garrosh being banned away here, with Muradin already on the board and Diablo banned out. That lowers the options to ETC, Anubarak, and Johanna.
Yeah, I mean, all of these heroes have their own pros and cons. With Johanna, of course, you basically secure yourselves pretty strong wave clear, pretty strong rotations, and of course a very stable warrior that can also ignore lots of CC with Iron Skin. So against Muradin and Irel, that might actually be pretty sweet. Thrall, of course, being the solo laner here. It's always a risky move, in my opinion, to pick that solo laner super early. But with Irel already being picked, you can just choose something to your liking. Malthael would have still been available. It's usually the go-to counter to Irel, but Thrall should be okay.
And Cassia, an old favorite. If this is going to be DLS, then DSL, sorry. This is his 4th most played hero of all time.
Yeah.
He's played it 15 times. And that
Win rate?
might sound low. Win rate 73.
Not bad.
It's one of his highest. But the reason, 15 might sound quite low. For starters, it's Cassia. She's not that common. But as 4th most picked, the reasoning for that is the top 4 are Cassia 15, Gul'dan 19, Falstad 20, Vala 58. There is a very clear favorite in terms of pick rate back when the double support meta was a thing.
Pretty sure Calder would approve this focus on Vala pretty much here. So really cool to see. In terms of drafts, though, if I had to choose a favorite, though, I would actually give it to Team Nut. I think their lineup looks super solid. Now, Cassia might be the golden ingredient for them to really, deal with all those auto attackers. However, there's so much synergy in the kit in the draft from Team Nut, right? All those slows for Phoenix are going to be amazing. The Blaze already has strong slowing. Then you have Earthquake on top of it if Thrall decides to go that route, which I don't see a reason why you shouldn't. But then again, you have RPG, and they made those auto attack heavy team compositions work pretty well with Sergeant Hammer. So maybe the Cassia can actually convince us otherwise. But for now, I'm leaning slightly over to Team Nut. What about you?
It's interesting because Cassia, she is very effective. She is a little bit more self-sustained. She's very self-sustainable, which might make up for the Malfurion, because I don't like Malfurion at the moment in HGC China because the meta.
Okay, I'm glad you said in China.
Yeah, in general, yes, I like Malfurion, but in a lot, I'd say 54% of drafts in HGC China that have a Malfurion in them, I don't like it, because they're usually against something really hyper-aggressive, and then they just die.
Yeah, I think so too, and especially China with that different playstyle that, evolves so much around team fighting and aggression. I think other supports like Luther, they would have made perfect sense here. Even Rhaegar.
Perfect chance? Is it perfect chance? Chen confirmed?
Yeah, oh my goodness, no! Don't quote me on this.
Well, I won't quote you on that, but I will quote you on this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 1 of our 5th series of the day. And on the left-hand side, it is RPG, and now we move out of quoting range because it is MJ, Free Show, C, Pa, and DSL.
On the right and the reds, it's Mercy, Atui, Malthael, Jigsaw, and Dia. And together, they form the team known as Team Nut. And let's actually see if they can actually get their first points on the way. As Tetris said, both teams yet on 0 points. They weren't able to win anything yet, but they also played pretty hefty opponents, right? BTG and The One. So this is definitely going to be a series that either of them really, really, really wants to win.
So I will say very quickly, from the one series we have seen from both of these teams, in my opinion, even though he's not a name change player, he's a brand new player here for Team Nut. I personally really, really like Jigsaw.
Okay.
I think his solo laning skills, when he was on that Dahaka especially, were superb. And I think that RPG should absolutely be careful playing around that Blaze hit.
And if you think about it, he faced off none other than Hugo as well on the side of the One, right? So he's without a doubt one of the strongest solo laners in the league that we have. So as you said, Jigsaw holding his own there in most of those moments in the games is pretty impressive. Dia is now trying to lock down DSL. He's actually stepping forward like a brave Amazon, trying to actually hold her ground. And look at that, no damage being taken from Thrall. He's actually turning it around, DSL.
Using all that armor, they get Dia. They look for another, but Stormbolt's too short range. But DSL, this is why he always used to be the God Valor. Maximum possible micro, dodging all the crowd control, keeping that armor from avoidance, off cooldown, perfect stutter step, and this is what we've been missing.
So sick, man. How do you turn a 2 versus 3 into a winning fight? Well, you just let DSL do his magics. And yeah, as you said, Tetra, right? This is the old Jin Zhao that we remember.
That was technically that was a 4 versus 2.
4 versus 2 even, make it better. Loving it. Yeah. That might be the first Dragon Knight. Oh.
Nice interrupt. But yeah, and they're actually going to be able to interrupt that for a while now. Decad's here too. But here's the thing. That kind of micro, you can't do it out of a Hanzo. This is why we've been missing it. You can do it a little bit with Reyna, but it's so cool to see DSL back here.
Could do it on Phoenix, potentially. So let's see if he's actually going to pick up that hero at some point.
Ooh, that'd be fun. I look forward to that possibility. But now, rotation down to the bot lane. Phoenix coming in. Atui might come in from the side. Yes, he does. No cubes yet. Wants to wait for the setup. Here comes a jump over by C as Par jumps in. And a quick pickup once again. This time onto Decad Kane, though.
Yeah, good picks all across the board for RPG. They're just dominating this bottom lane. Team Nut really needs to be a little more careful as to how many people they send in that lane and as to how aggressively they then play in it. Pa is easily going to take that Dragon Knight as well. No minions to interrupt him up to this point. And I think after maybe destroying 1 middle tower, maybe even 2, he should be satisfied with it and maybe even make a rotation. But already, Malthael and Dia joined now by Atui as well. They're going to try to keep that feisty dragon at bay. Easier said than done, though. 1 tower has fallen already. Genji needs to be... doesn't even need to be that careful as to when the Dragon Knight gets destroyed because he's got hypermobility at his side.
Oh boy. Quick stun and another kill. No, they're out of minions. They have to back up. Here comes the Scroll of Sealing onto Muradin. That minion survived just long enough for him to get out of fort range.
Yeah, it looks like Cassia is not the only hero that has some inbuilt sustain and protection, right? Thrall has plenty of that as well. Mercy actually staying alive, pretty cool. But already, look at that early momentum, taking down towers in the bottom, in the middle, soaking, killing heroes. RPG is just trying to snowball ahead here.
Begin to put pressure onto Jigsaw. Yrel gonna get CC, but that's basically the only crowd control ability that was available at the time, so she could have jumped away if they chased further. So instead, Team Nut back up and just let her go.
Yeah, they let her go. She doesn't have the Divine Steed, so escaping out of these sticky situations is not going to be as easy. Look at DSL. He's playing like a warrior at this point. Are you kidding me? Point blank range. Doesn't even care. He takes off Decker Kane yet again. The old man is going to have to try again later. Now with that fort, though, hitting DSL, needs to be a little more careful. But this is just impressive. Like, that bottom lane is definitely RPG's turf. Like, what do you say? What do you do?
They live here. This is the Amazon now. As Cassia is in full control at this point. Yrel is doing pretty well in the top lane as well as she should be versus Blaze. Level 10s might be the only requirement here.
Yeah, I could even see a potential Valkyrie coming in here if the level gap remains that one-sided. You know, you pick something like, or someone like the Decker Kane off here. Then, of course, on the flip side, you could also argue that Blaze is kind of good against Valkyrie, but then again, he's also good against the Ball Lightning, so I'm really curious to see what DSL decides to go for after.
Mercy piles on the pressure as he was able to tank through this, but look at the health bars. Malfurion's keeping everyone pretty topped up here. The lack of burst damage at this stage for Team Nut kind of showing against a Malfurion. This is where he really benefits. So the Malfurion, in this case, my concerns are at the moment alleviated.
Yeah, Malfurion is definitely looking good here up to this point. And you know what? Knowing RPG, knowing MJ, I could even imagine a Twilight Dream here against Team Nut. But let's actually not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's actually just wait until this mercenary battle is over. A 5-man commitment from RPG. They're really not willing to let this Siege Giant camp go. And they basically secure it just like that. Level 10 is ever so close. I still think we're going to see a Ball Lightning. I mean, there is a bunker who could sometimes mess with that. But overall, the damage, the additional damage is just too good to be passed on. And once again, the Valkyrie could also be ruined by the bunker nonetheless. And probably won't get as much value.
There's no Twilight Dream, but there is a Dragon Blade coming in. And the Ball
and a Sacred Ground.
Sacred Ground, Bull, Lightning, Dragon Blade. Neat. Let's see what they can make happen with these, as Muradin, who has Avatar, jumps into the Dragonite straight away and begins to push. Genji eats a little bit of harassment from Dia, forced to back up.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a reason why he went for Dragon Blade here. I mean, probably Genji's not really afraid of getting caught, right? Johanna is one of the less mobile warriors. Her CC is not as reliable. He shouldn't have any major problems dodging Blaze as well for the most part. So he's probably saying that, you know what, I can keep myself alive, especially with Malfurion as well, having infinite range on his heal once the regrowth is on me. So I'm just going to go for additional damage. I'm going to pressure the Decker Kane, who has no escapes himself. So I'm kind of digging it. Let's see if we can actually make it a reality.
There's also the factor that next strike, it only takes one bunker or anything like that to interrupt, or a Phoenix teleporting away. The Dragon Blade is consistent. It is consistent and persistent damage, which means that the enemy team, if RPG can clear the bunker quick enough, it means that he's going to be in a position where he can make a play. Speaking of, Blaze currently has not picked, finally does pick the bunker, surprise, surprise. Here comes the Earthquake from behind, Root, Dragon Blade, and yeah, you sort of didn't wait for your team there. So this happened.
Very ambitious, to say the least. Disengage it was. Yeah, not really the best of communication for Team Nut. They were completely isolated and split into two halves. Now MJ finds himself in a little bit of a rough position.
Salvo, he's slowed by the keep. Down he goes. In the meantime, though, Decker Kane did also die.
Now, Tetra, that Lornado was just rude. There was nothing MJ could have done.
It was really dope. He had tranquility on as well. Still died, but yeah, that was unfortunate. Nice job by Deckard, but he did die at the same time.
Yeah, and you know, I think Malfurion gave his life willingly there because they were able to achieve so much despite his departure. So they got the bottom keep already. That is the most valuable one on Dragonshire. Why is that, Kendrick? Well, because they have Siege Giant's camp on this map. It also gives you plenty of space to move in for future Dragonite fights. So already, RPG is in the best possible scenario to dominate the mid-late game.
As we see Team Nut tearing through this Bruiser camp, RPGs decide to show up and steal it. Let's see if they can. Nice use of Swift Strike, baiting out the Feral Spirit there. And with C showing up, that camp is as good as theirs. Par's going to delay all of this. Bunker's on the point, and they are actually going to be forced to jump on the point. Jumps back on, and a Sacred Ground as well. And see you later, Team Nut. They're going to be forced away here as they dive through. Genji does not get the reset. There's the Earthquake with the salvo. Pretty good here. Mercy gets a clutch Frostwolf Resilience here and a potion. He will still die to Yarel, but yeah, I expected far more deaths there.
Yeah, me too, actually. I think both teams were not really willing to move an inch to give any quarter to the enemy team. However, it was RPG who just played this so well. I would actually like to see a replay of this team fight. I'm not sure if it's possible because the bunker was good, mind you, right? But the positioning of Genji and Muradin, how they swapped locations to basically maintain control over this mercenary platform, it was so good. And then, of course, you have the ideal sieging, the ideal stalling comp of RPG, right? With that Sacred Ground, it's so hard to move these Muradin and Irels off their platform. It's so good.
And they're just walking to the core, Kendrick. This is
10 minutes.
Yeah, 10-minute win. It's not a record, but it's pretty freaking good if they can pull this off. It's 5v5 on the core. Muradin dives. He's in keep range, eating a fair amount of damage. Ball Lightning spreading throughout the team. Not too much damage. In the meantime, the Dragonite just wrecks through the shield. Down to half health on the DK. Anti-healing is applied by Deckard Kane. Not able to do too much damage. Tranquility is still standing. Here alive. Salvo interrupted by Muradin, and that's going to be beautiful.
And that is something the Chinese teams do also well, ladies and gentlemen. They know when to close out a game against a team that is just desperately behind. And that's exactly what they did. RPG, another walk in the park with a Dragonite. 10 minutes into it, Dragonshire, they take the nuts out. And, well, that was the team we highlighted earlier. RPG with the addition of DSL on that dominating Cassia. What a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was absolutely great. That bot lane was just savage. I have no words for that other than apparently savage. And Team Nut, where is that brilliance we saw in their first series?
I don't know, man. They looked so good earlier, especially in that game 2 against the 1. However, here, they tried to gank Cassia, which is not the worst of ideas, right? She's not the most mobile ranged assassin. She doesn't have a flashy teleport, dash, whatever you want to call it. But she is hard to kill if you don't time your CC effects very diligently, right? And guess what happened? We saw that. 2 versus 4, no problem. DSL is going to use his superior micro status stepping to dodge not only skill shots, but also get himself closer into the action. And he turned around multiple times. He bought enough time for his allies to join him as well. And boom, there she goes. Experience lead, take down the structures, buy enough time for a Dragonite, and that's how they won.
Nice job. That is going to secure at least a minimum of 1 point.
True.
For RPG, which is great. Let's see how many more they can gain, because remember, currently it is 3 points for the 1 and 3 points for Beyond the Game. Super Perfect Team and CE are all on us, and also the A-Team and KT. They are all on a single point. Both these teams are currently last, but they put on a pretty solid performance against the current best teams. If they can, whichever one can, if they both win, then yeah, it's a 1-1. That's fine, but it's not ideal. If you can't win against what were the worst 2 teams last season, you're going to struggle. But if RPG is able to take a 2-0, they're looking good for like finishing in the top 4 maybe, which is not BlizzCon worthy, but depending on how much they grow throughout the season, it could be. It's certainly a good build-up.
Yeah. Dude, I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw a surprise at BlizzCon coming in from China, right? So if we didn't see the same old, the 1 CEs, BTGs, and SPTs, if we saw maybe an exotic name like RPG, Team Nut, or A-Team on there, definitely would spice things up quite a bit. For now, though, guys, we're going to take a look at this very short game. 8-1 in terms of kills, 4-0 structures, easy peasy walls on the side of RPG, and look at the hero damage at the very bottom. 107k. All heroes combined against measly 74k. And DSL, he's back. That brings back good old flashbacks of Zhen Zhao. Oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah, super good job there with that Cassia. We don't see it very often, but we start to see why it is so good for DSL and just why he was so sorely missed and why it was so hard for SPT to replace in the first place.
Yeah.
Well, they went through 3 people trying to find a new replacement.
Yeah, they went to Molly first. It didn't really work out that well. And now they're here with Lucky.
2 people, sorry, I can't count.
Yeah. It's all right. We've had a lot of roster changes in China. Probably the most volatile region